Spencer, a lot of guys on the team found some warm locales, some palm trees. Did you do anything fun over this short break?
I did the same thing. Found some sunshine and found some warm weather, and had a good time with family and kids, and were able to get away and sort of enjoy some family time, because it has been quite a grind over the last month or so. So that was nice to get away, but now you kind of get recharged and refreshed, and now you're chomping at the bit to get right back at it and get into the stretch run.
Oh, well, let's talk about the three Olympians, LT, Willie, Ferravari.
Yeah.
Well, what do you hope they bring back from Italy with them?
Honestly, just a fond memories and appreciation for the experience that they got to enjoy. And it's once in a lifetime to represent your country and play in the Winter Olympics. So I just hope they come back and they have nothing but just positive things to share with everyone. We're going to ask them 100 different questions of what was the Olympic Village like? What was it like playing in the arena? What was the locker room? All the different experiences, because it really is truly something that you'll remember for the rest of your life, and you'll be telling stories about playing in the Winter Olympics to your grandchildren. So just them bringing back all the memories, and as far as the hockey and coming into the team, I don't think anything changes. Them having played and not having gotten a break like the rest of majority of the players in the league and majority of players on our team.
How do you manage that?
Yeah, it's hard, right? Because you can't just go, okay, Tom Wilson, you get a 4-day break, and Marty, you get a 3-day break, and LT. But I do think at certain moments, managing minutes or practice time and just trying to let their bodies mentally and physically get a little bit of rest, I'll be mindful of that and seeing and identifying times where we can give them a bit of a breather.
I want to ask you about Wilson in particular. He became a big storyline in the Olympics. First player to record a Gordie Howe hat trick in the Olympics. He
wouldn't have it any other way, right?
Of course not.
That's going to be the easiest trivia question to answer in 10 years.
Yeah. He can be a polarizing player, but playing on the grand stage of the Olympics.
Yeah.
What do you hope that fans of the other 31 NHL teams that don't see him play every night learned about him?
I think just an appreciation for his all-around game, the physicality and how hard he competes. Everyone knows that, and sometimes it frustrates the opposition, naturally, and the opposition fan base. Naturally, of course, it would if I was sitting in their shoes as well. But the thing that you've got to dig a little bit deeper, and you've got to watch him, and you've got to sort of see him play consistently and not just 1 or 2 nights a season, is his just all-around game. His ability to make a play with the puck, his ability to skate, his ability to forecheck effectively, his ability to penalty kill and be in the right position, and his mind for the game. He's such an intelligent player, and so when you watch him on the world stage play with all the best of the best, and he's able to show you he can do all those things, I think that's the appreciation that we have for him as Caps, coaches, teammates, fans, and I hope that people walk away having watched him play in the Winter Olympics with amongst the best players on the planet as, wow, this guy's all-around game is incredible.
Alex Ovechkin, 40 years old, 20-plus goals once again. But we don't know what he's going to decide here over the next few months, but how do you kind of manage that? It could be a lot on his mind going down the stretch.
Yeah, it's something I've thought about, and it's not easy because it's sort of an elephant in the room, right? You don't want to press him, and Alex, as an organization, as a coach, you're going to give him the freedom and whatever he wants to do, as we've said all along, is that's what we're going to do, and he's going to take some time. And so I don't really want to bring up, hey, this might be your last,
right.
Because that's for down the road. So I'm just trying to stay in the moment with O and help him and help our group is everything we can do for these last 23 games to get ourselves in playoff position, for him to be an effective player, for him to be an effective leader, to him be at his best as 40-year-old Alex Ovechkin. That's sort of what I've tried to really focus on. And then, decisions that are down the road, I think that's when you'll be able to reflect and really talk about it. And because right now it's so important that he as hard as it may be, thoughts going through your mind, is this the last time I'm going to do this?
Yeah.
Is staying on task and, okay, how are we going to get this team
Right.
into the Stanley Cup playoffs, and how are you going to be at your absolute best for these last 23 games of the regular season of the 2026 season?
Before we look ahead, I want to look back at the previous 4+ months real quick. You had some great stretches, mid-November into December, had some cold stretches. Thinking about January, when you think about that inconsistency, what's like that number one thing that you feel like that ingredient that was missing?
Tough question, but because I think it's a combination of a lot of things.
Okay.
But if you were, I just think the league as a whole and every night and every season, it's not like you can just turn over and it's like, okay, we're just going to be a great team again this year and we're going to do this, this, and this. I think that's one important point of it, is a lot of things last year, a lot of our fan base, even us as coaches, even our players, you reflect back on your most previous year. Why are things not happening like it did last year? Well, I can tell you it's hard to replicate really great things that you do year in, year out. It's hard to be consistent in the National Hockey League. And so I think that would be the consistency season to season, and ability to do it again, and the ability to replicate a great season or maintain a high level of play. Or for a young player, I look at the 4 rookies, I call them rookies, I don't know what the NHL calls them, but Lappy, Ethan Frank, Justin Sordiff, and Ryan Leonard, all going through this for the first time, a full NHL season. And you see, I can't remember what game it was, but Justin Sordiff has a hat trick, 4 points, unbelievable night. And Ryan Leonard's had nights like that. But it's unrealistic to think that it's just going to stay like that every single night.
Yeah.
It's hard,
especially for the young players.
Absolutely, yeah. and even for second, third, fourth year players. And so just the consistency, whether it's season to season, game to game, it just hasn't been where we need it to be, and that's what we're continuing to work on, so that Ryan Leonard and Sordy can become really consistently high. So it's hard to answer, but that's what I would say from a consistency standpoint, game to game, period to period, shift to shift.
Let's talk about some of those individuals. The first guy that comes to mind is Jacob Chychrun. 21 goals, most amongst blue liners as play resumes here. It feels to me, Coach, like he's also becoming a better player two ways. He's a more well-rounded defenseman. What are you seeing? Yeah,
I would agree with that assessment. I think that the production and the individual offensive ability, and him now running our first unit power play and finding ways to score in like you saw the other night against Nashville, he's continued to push the envelope and get even better in that. So the production, the scoring, outstanding. His well-rounded game, which is the most important, in my opinion, to becoming a number one defenseman in this league, and someone that can play 30 minutes, someone that can play in every situation.
30 minutes.
All right. But you know what I'm saying, like the Cale Makars of the world, and that's who Chicky, which is awesome, and we have the same goals for him. He wants to become that. He wants to grow into a defenseman that can play Victor Hedman minutes or John Carlson minutes, 5 years ago or whatever it might be. So I think just him working at his all-around game, his ability to defend the rush, his ability to defend in tight spaces, whether that's the net front or our corner battles, he's done a much better job, and he continues to grow. And he's still got a long way to go, but it's been nice to see his progression and the work that he's put in to become that all-around defenseman.
The other veteran I want to ask you about is Willie. We talked about him in the Olympics, but let's talk about his NHL game. I mean, he's missed some games, but he's still on pace for another 30-goal season. What are you seeing from him?
He's just had another tremendous year. You right when you think he's reached a peak and, okay, he can't do any more for our team, he does absolutely that. And from a production standpoint, got off to another hot start on the power play, on our first unit penalty kill, playing in all of our key situations. In a lot of games, I reflect back to, and I always use the Montreal example in the playoffs last year, but I look at a bunch of games through this regular season where he turned momentum with a shift or with a play, or with him doing something that changed the momentum in the game to give us some life and give us some a boost that all of a sudden turned into a goal or turned into us controlling play for a period that ended up in us scoring 2 goals. And so, yeah, I can't say enough about what he's done on the ice and all the different areas that he plays in, and then also his leadership, which has come such a long way.
As play resumes, we already saw Pierre-Luc Dubois has made a return. Looks like Connor McMichael is probably going to be good to go. Charlie Lindgren. This is going to be the healthiest your team has been since like the first couple of weeks of the season.
Yeah.
How do you guys capitalize on that?
I think that's a massive part of us carrying the momentum over the last 5 games into this last stretch, because it does give our guys a lot of confidence. Pierre-Luc Dubois, I mean, I can't sugarcoat it. He's a massive part of our team, and losing him for an extended period of time, it's impossible to replace him. You hope that, guys can fill in some of what he does and sort of do it by committee, but at the end of the day, you're missing a really, really elite NHL player that's a big part of your team. And so I think him coming back not only helps our group, but gives our group a lot of confidence that, okay, we've got Doobie back, okay, we've got now everybody's kind of slotted in the right spot. Now we've got a top 6 that looks kind of like it did last year, and now we can get some chemistry and momentum. And so I think that's, hopefully we use that in the right way and can carry his coming back into the lineup as a positive and use that as fuel for our group.
So now we've got a 23-game sprint to the finish. When you get the whole group back together and you get in front of them and you kind of have your big first team meeting, what are going to be the points of emphasis to make sure you guys get to where you want to be?
So we had that this morning, and I always go back and forth on. And I rarely do this because I'm not a big standings person. I don't like to follow the standings. I don't like to bring it up. I don't like to post it in the locker room.
Right.
I just have been, let's focus on the next 2 or 3 games, a small segment tomorrow night. And if you do that, I feel like the big picture will look after itself. Given our situation this year, I thought it was important to acknowledge where we're at and the landscape in front of us and what we're going to need to accomplish. Okay, here's what it is, here's what it looks like, here's the ground we're going to need to make up, and here's some of the facts of what it probably we're going to need to play at record-wise.
Right.
And then it's the last time I'll talk about it.
Yep.
It's just because I think knowing that as a player, when we have a week before we play, it's just something to wrap our head around of understand, okay, we're going to have to play at a really high level. Like, a couple games above 500 is not going to get the job done. The Eastern Conference is just too good this year. There's too many teams that are right in the thick of it that are 10, 12 games above 500.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get on a pretty good run here, and that's fine, but I just think it's important, given this situation, that everybody knows what we're up against and what it's got to look like.
Spencer, thanks for your time. This was great as always. Good luck the rest of the way, and something tells me it's going to come down to that final few games.
Thank you very much, Tarik.